And away we go on a cold day in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And a great matchup, old school style, interconference. The Dallas Cowboys at 8-4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers 9-3. The Dallas Cowboys will start with a football here in a tough place to play against this outstanding Steeler defense. That's how windy it is. The ball is held for Reed, and this is Adam Jones. Pac-Man on the return. His first week back off the suspension, trying to make something happen for Dallas, and he goes down short of the 30. Ike Taylor on the stop, a 20-yard return for Pac-Man Jones. His first kickoff return as a Dallas Cowboy, and here comes Tony Romo and this offense. Romo is the top-rated quarterback in the NFL, but we circle Tashard Choice for good reason. It is a huge weapon not there for the Cowboys and Marion Barber.
Yeah, and I think that, the first thing you would think about is, well, how well are they going to run the ball? I don't know that they're going to be able to run the ball well, or would have, even with Marion Barber. I think the bigger question is, what's that going to do in their pass protection?
They're going to start with a throw, and it is incomplete for Roy Williams. Take a look at this defense, and they have the trifecta working here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are #1 in overall total defense, #1 in run defense. They're averaging, allowing just over 70 yards on the ground per game, and #1 in pass defense, the top scoring defense. Name a stat, Aikman. I can tell you they're the best.
They're as good as I've seen in quite some time. I had a chance to play against that Baltimore group in 2000. I think this group is every bit as good.
Second down and 10. Handoff is to Choice. Polamalu on the tackle. Choice picked up 2. Tashard got a chance to play a little more in the Cowboys' last game on Thanksgiving when Marion Barber went down with 3:47 left in the second quarter, had 1 carry in the second half, and then shut it down. And in that game, 11 carries, 57 yards. Now it's 3rd and 8. Romo, a little fake with his shoulders, and he's picked off. Polamalu another. 7 on the year, and interceptions in 4 straight games.
Well, he made that look easy, didn't he? I don't know if there was some kind of miscommunication with Tony Romo or Terrell Owens, but clearly Romo expected Owens to stay on the move, and he shut it down. Troy Polamalu got a great break on it, read the route, and I think Terrell Owens saw Polamalu moving to the outside and just figured that Romo would not be throwing it then in his direction.
For Polamalu, he leads the league with now 7 picks. He has won in 4 straight games. And for the Steelers, 14 interceptions as a defense. They take over at the Dallas 46. And whistles and penalty flags before the snap. Delay a game, not a good start. Alberto Riverone's microphone not working, not a good start, and it's 1st and 15. That's not a good way for T.O. to have his first series go on his birthday, is it?
No, that's not a good start for anybody, birthday or no birthday.
And so Tony Romo and Jason Garrett try and figure out a way to do better next time at it. It's 1st and 15, Pittsburgh. Handoff is to Willie Parker, nothing. And I'll say this, and you and I talked about this before the game. You can say all you want about Marion Barber. You can talk about the offensive weapons that the Dallas Cowboys have with T.O. and obviously Jason Witten and Roy Williams and Tony Romo directing traffic. But in my mind, if Dallas is going to win this game, they're going to have to win the game with their defense.
Well, and I would agree, because they've got to be able to keep the score down. I mean, if you look at any team that has played against Pittsburgh, for the most part, they're not going to score a lot of points unless the offense for the Steelers is turning it over. So they're very reliant then on this defense for Dallas.
Here is one nearly picked by Newman as he stepped in front of Santonio Holmes. And so now 3rd and long, 3rd and 14 for Pittsburgh. And we look at Ben Roethlisberger, who, Troy, has done nothing in the NFL but win since the moment he got here.
And I think at the end of the day, that's how you judge every quarterback, and he's won as well as anybody during the time that he's been playing. And somewhat of an inconsistent year up to this point, but I think a lot of that has had to do with the fact that he just hasn't been healthy. Now, he did slip during practice this week, injured his knee, but by all accounts, this is the healthiest he's been in a long time.
3rd down and 14. Roethlisberger with a pocket hits Antonio Holmes. $22 yards on 3rd and 14.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh clearly knows that if they're going to be able to throw the ball effectively, they've got to do a good job against DeMarcus Ware, the NFL sack leader. You got Max Starks at left tackle doing that job, and then on the outside, good execution with the route combination, getting Santonio Holmes in the zone in front of Terrence Newman.
First down at the 27, and Willie Parker trying to get to the edge, cannot. Brought down by Anthony Henry, no gain. Talked about using Henry at the safety spot at times as this season grinds to the end, and you look at this 3-4, and we highlight Brady James, who's got the radio helmet. He is having one of, if not his best year ever in the NFL. Not one of the 13 Pro Bowlers that the Cowboys sent to Honolulu last year.
And I think he was disappointed about that last year, and he's having a better season this year, and I think that in talking with him, he expects to be going over to Hawaii at the end of the season. 2nd
down and 10, and the pass is behind his tight end Spaeth, and Roethlisberger has to roll over and push himself off the ground. Under pressure, and the throw is behind the tight end. It's 3rd and 10.
Tell you what, that last 3rd down that Pittsburgh was able to convert, that was a big conversion. Dallas has been pretty good overall on 3rd down. And with the short field, the turnover, if they'd have been able to get out of that possession without giving up any points, that's pretty good. From where they're at right now, they're certainly within field goal range.
And a timeout by Dallas. Orlando Scandrick, the rookie,
who was lost. We all know that he has missed the last 6 games and did not get over to line up there on Hines Ward.
3rd down and 10. Pass is broken up, and there's Adam Pac-Man Jones back into the lineup. Limas Swede, the rookie, the intended receiver. And now on this cold, very windy day, a 45-yard field goal try will be forthcoming from Jeff Reed. It will not be automatic, and a good play by Adam Jones.
Yeah, it looked like Ben Roethlisberger got what he wanted, and just a ball that got away from him a little bit. The wind is a little bit of a factor today, but had he been able to get that ball out in front of Swede, I think they had a chance for a completion.
This is a kick more with the wind, and it is pushed wide to the right. So Tony Romo throws the interception to Polamalu. The defense good enough to hold. Romo threw his 9th interception of the season, the first possession. Cowboys start with it at their own 35 and hand to Tashard Choice. And Choice picks up 4. We go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, just a little bit more information about Marion Barber. Speaking with Jerry Jones before the game, Jones said he was very, very surprised when Barber announced on Saturday that he could not go, that he would not be able to help the team. Jones said he thought that dislocated toe was healing well, but as it turns out, that toe injury is apparently causing other problems with his leg. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Pam. So now it's Tashard Choice, the rookie, and 4th round pick out of Georgia Tech, as Romo. What a good play by Casey Hampton. The nose guard back there knocked it down. Let's go to Kurt for a game break. One of the many former Cowboys that Bill Parcells brought with him to the Miami Dolphins. 3rd and 6 here in Pittsburgh. Four-man rush. Pass is complete. First down, Witten. And when he needs it, Tony Romo looks for his roommate on the road, Jason Witten, for the first down. Gain of 8.
Well, just like Pittsburgh's got to be able to block DeMarcus Ware, the same holds true for Dallas. They've got to be able to do a good job against James Harrison, and they're going to work the line his way. Try to keep him from being a factor. And you called it, Joe. I mean, Jason Witten, that's the guy who Tony Romo is looking for more times than not on 3rd downs.
Handoff to Choice. And Tashard fights his way to midfield. Troy, this part of the schedule from 1997 on has been brutal for the Dallas Cowboys. They have not had a December-January part of their schedule where they have been over 500. 2-2 last year, 18-31 in December and January since the start of 97. Since 03, 10-16. They went 2-2 last year in Wade Phillips' first season. And then lost in the playoffs to the Giants. 2nd and 7. Handoff to Choice, and he falls down before Ferrier can hit him. A gain of only 1. 3rd down coming up.
You talk about Dallas's problems in December, Joe. Last year, a little bit misleading. That last game of the season, they had home field advantage wrapped up. They were playing on the road in the last game of the season against the Redskins, elected to rest their players and lost that game. But there's no doubt, in talking with these coaches and talking with the players, more importantly, who have been around during that time, hey, they acknowledge that they've got to do a better job, and it's not going to be any easier this year with the schedule they have coming up.
3rd down and 6. A screen for Witten. Gets away from one tackler and now fights and tries to pick up the first down, and Witten has it. What a good effort by Jason Witten to avoid one tackler and then pick up 7 on 3rd down and 6 for a first down.
They bring Ike Taylor on the blitz. You'll see him come this way, and then they've got the screen out the other side. You know, sometimes you just get fortunate as a play caller. Jason Garrett calling the screen away from where the blitz was coming. And then if you're able to block the guy who's got him in man, you got a pretty good play.
That was a second-year player, Lawrence Timmons, who whiffed on that initial tackle, allowing Witten the room to operate to get the first down. Now it's Choice getting 2. And there's the season for Jason Witten, who is now over 400 catches in his career. And some confusion prior to this snap on 2nd and 8. Plenty of time on the play clock. On 2nd and 8, pass is complete to Roy Williams. And forward progress inside the 35, a gain of 6. 3rd down coming up, and on that previous play, Tony Romo has his left hand stepped on by Travis Kershke.
So he finally got out of the splint on his right hand, and now he's going to have to put something on his left.
And now a timeout is taken by Pittsburgh prior to this game, and Tony Romo trying to get warmed up during that timeout taken by the Steelers.
Yeah, the Wisconsin boys get a little cold. I was wondering why he's not wearing the sleeves. You know, he said, this is a fall day, as Pam reported. Well, he's over there trying to warm those arms up.
Mr. Wisconsin is cold. By the way, it'd be a 52-yard field goal from here. This could be 2-down territory for the Cowboys to try and pick up a first down. It's 3rd and 2. How about a toss to Terrell Owens, who started the play in the backfield, and he is brought down half a yard shy of a first down by Ferrier. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Thank you. You got more?
All right, Kurt, so we will certainly get everybody updated, not just on the scores, but on the playoff picture as we go through the day. Terrell Owens, it certainly appeared, was short of first down yardage with the initial spotting of the football, and they are. And in my estimation, this would really be asking a lot of Nick Folk to knock it through for a field goal. And it looks like Dallas will go for it here on 4th and inches. I don't even know if this is much of a decision here.
No, I don't think it's a decision at all, Joe. And normally in this situation, 4th and short, you're turning and handing it off to Marion Barber. But, do you trust Tashard Choice in this situation, or do you go with Deion Anderson or a quarterback sneak, or certainly changes what the strategy will be for Dallas.
You saw that graphic. There have only been 2 field goals as far as 50 yards in the history of the stadium. They're in their 8th year of playing at Heinz Field. It's 4th and inches. Anderson, the fullback, won't get it. Offense in the league coming in 6 for 7, but they had done that obviously against teams not named the Steelers. James Harrison made that play, and now Mwelde Moore carries it, but a penalty flag is down on the gain of 3 by the former Viking.
Offside, number 94. Defense, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Back to that 4th and inches.
Yeah, they got to push inside here in the middle, you're going to see. And here's James Harrison. Had Deion Anderson had just stayed play side behind Leonard Davis, they probably pick up this first down. But James Harrison able to come underneath Jason Witten and beat him. He's the guy who makes the play. I mean, I tell you, Steelers are grown accustomed to this guy making plays week in and week out.
First down and 5. Roethlisberger in trouble. Buys some time and completes it to Mwelde Moore. And even though Ben Roethlisberger is a big body, 6'5", 241, he has the ability of buying extra time, and that was good for 12 yards.
It's pretty remarkable, really, when you watch him. And he's been doing it ever since he came into the league. I mean, he's able to buy time, move around, and he's one of these guys who, a lot like Tony Romo, in that as he moves around within the pocket, he's not looking to run. I mean, he's looking to get the ball down the field, that time finding Moore for the first down.
On first down, there he is again, Mwelde Moore. He gets 11, a first down. Here's Kurt with a game break. Yeah, and it's been a laydown by the rest of the NFC West. Here's Moore to the 35. Picks up 4. Anthony Spencer on the tackle for Dallas. So the Cowboys went on a 10-play drive that took over 5 minutes off the clock, came away with nothing when they were stopped on 4th and inches. And now with under 5 to go on the clock running in the first quarter, here's Pittsburgh pushing it the other way. 2nd and 6. Handoff to Moore running left. Nothing out there, and a good play by the Dallas defense as Marcus Spears makes the tackle, and DeMarcus Ware was there as well. Bowen, who's one of the backup defensive linemen in there for Dallas. They had good push up front with that defensive line.
Yeah, and this Pittsburgh team, I mean, as we well know, this is a group that wants to run the football. Bruce Arians, the offensive coordinator. It's what the Steelers have been built on for many, many years. This year, they've been extremely inconsistent being able to do that.
3rd down and 7. Here come the Cowboys on a blitz. And the pass is incomplete. A flag is down. And the Cowboys hold on that third down play, but will check the marker. Ben doesn't like the call, and right now the Steelers are probably outside field goal range for Jeff Reed.
Illegal formation, number 74, offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
It would be a 54-yard field goal try from here, so Mitch Berger is onto the field, the punter, to try to pin Dallas down deep.
I'll tell you, so far these defensive units, of course you expect that from Pittsburgh. They make the play when they had to, and Pittsburgh's been able to make some plays offensively and move the football, but when Dallas has had to do something, they've been able to make the play as well.
Berger hits it. Pac-Man Jones muffs it, and then the fight for the football. Jones got back on it, but a mental mistake as much as anything, as he tried to field it down inside the 10 and then just got ripped out of that pile. But it's Dallas's football. The call is the Cowboys have the ball after this.
Well, it's every man for himself. Once you get to the bottom of that, he has it there. Does he have possession? Now is just trying to pick up 1 first down and just give themselves a little bit of room.
Choice gets it. Picks up 2. James Harrison, the first one there for Pittsburgh. How about the story with James Harrison?
Well, I tell you what, I mean, James Harrison, the story is unbelievable, and yet he's a guy, if you didn't know who he was after last season, you should know who he is now. And you've got to get down there and make a play. I mean, that's Martellus Bennett, who's trying to shut him off. We've already saw him make the play on 4th down, similar to that on Jason Witten. But this guy's relentless. I mean, he does not stop. Sometimes you can get away without blocking the backside pursuit. James Harris is not one of those guys you can let free.
Play clock is winding down, and Dallas has to take a timeout. Jason Witten had limped off after that last play, and so Tony Curtis, who was in there, having a tough time getting lined up, and that's not a good sign for Dallas, as their top receiver is not on the field as they were getting ready for a 2nd and 8 play.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, if you are in this game without your number 1 running back in Marion Barber, and then all of a sudden you lose Jason Witten.
Deep in Dallas territory, 2nd and 8 for the Cowboys. Play action from Romo, and it's Tony Curtis, the backup tight end, good for 3. And why was Jason Witten not in there and Curtis there to make the catch? Well, 2 plays ago, number 82 had James Harrison roll up the back of his legs.
I tell you, you see that time and time again. It's actually surprising to me that it doesn't happen more often with offensive linemen and running backs falling on the back of their legs. And here Jason Witten is making a block, and next thing he knows, he's got James Harrison rolling up on his ankle.
3rd down and 5. Terrell Owens without a catch so far today. Romo steps up, and the ball comes out of his hand. It's an incomplete pass. Not a fumble, an incomplete pass, and it's 4th down. The arm, Troy, certainly looked like it was coming forward, and there's no doubt that is the definition of the tuck rule. And it's an incomplete pass and 4th down for Dallas.
Yeah, there's no doubt, Joe. I agree. I mean, that's the tuck rule. As long as the arm's coming forward and the ball is still in the possession, then at that point, anything that happens thereafter will be ruled an incomplete pass. That's a good call.
Paulescu hits it into the wind, and a fair catch is called for and taken in by Santonio Holmes. And so now we welcome you inside our broadcast booth. Joe and Troy with you, and I guess so far the game hasn't disappointed, and it's been a defensive struggle to this point.
Yeah, and that's certainly what we expected. I mean, we definitely expected that from Pittsburgh. I mean, this group, when you think about it, has not given up 300 yards of offense all year long. I mean, that is completely remarkable to me, and they come out again. They're the group that sets the tone each and every week, and here they've done that in the first quarter.
The Steelers start this day 9-3, a game in front of the Ravens in the AFC North. Baltimore plays tonight at home against Washington. Hatcher got back across, and the pass is dropped by Santonio Holmes. Let's go down to the field. Here's Pam.
Well, Joe, a bunch of news for the Cowboys injury front first. Jason Witten, he's got an injury to his right ankle. That's all they'll say for now. Adam Jones has a shoulder stinger. And finally, Terrence Newman, he is suffering from some blurred vision, so they're keeping him out for the moment.
It's been a rough year trying to stay on the field for Terrence Newman. You saw Pac-Man Jones back on the field for Dallas. It's 2nd and 10. A late snap. And yet a completion to Heath Miller. Ball comes out. The fight for the football, and the Cowboys have it. The initial call is a fumble, and the Cowboys recovered it. The ball is marked down at the Dallas 46. Let's take another look.
Yeah, it looked to me, Joe, like the ball did come out before his knee or anything else got to the ground, and sure enough, I mean, his hand's on the ground, but that's okay. Ball out. It's a good job by the official seeing that. You see Brady James coming in and knocking it loose.
So a forced fumble by Brady James, and then Ken Hamlin comes out of the pileup with the football. So now each side has turned it over, and Dallas starts this one at their own 46. Romo underneath to Tashard Choice, and a decent block on the outside by Roy Williams. A first down as Choice gets 11.
And I think that's going to be a real key here for Dallas offensively. You think of Marion Barber when he's been playing, you know, a guy who's caught a lot of balls this year, and a number of them have been the underneath throws like we saw here. Tashard Choice, not a guy who's caught a lot of passes in college, but a nice play, a nice job really by Tony Romo, not being able to get the ball down the field and then coming underneath and finding him.
Under a minute to go, first quarter. Choice gets to the 40, and that's it. They'll actually mark him with forward progress to the 41. Let's go to Kurt for another game break. All right, Kurt. Jets might have their hands full today with the San Francisco 49ers out there, and they're in a 7-7 game, and we are into the second quarter officially now. 0-0 here in Pittsburgh. Cowboys and Steelers. Witten trying to get back out there. Dallas with the ball.
I think that he'd had those hands inside his pouch as often as possible.
2nd down and 9. Witten is back in the lineup for Dallas. Romo, Choice out of the backfield, a nice catch. He rolls forward, and he's finally tapped as he gets to the 34 by Casey Hampton, a gain of 7.
Yeah. And Casey Hampton, he does a nice job of plugging the middle against the run, but I don't think he's going to do much in coverage. You look at him here at the nose tackle, and everybody was running off, and they were in like a zone dog there, and then Casey Hampton trying to run out. Ike Taylor, who was the rolled corner, but he carried the receiver deep. It's the first time I've seen a nose tackle trying to get out there in coverage in a flat.
Cowboys could again be in 4-down territory on 3rd and 2. Just get it away, and Romo had his arm hit as he let it go. Larry Foote ended up closest to him, and now Montre Holland, who has taken over at left guard after Kozar went on IR. Proctor has been replaced by Montre Holland, and now Holland can't get up. 4th down and 2. The Cowboys will go for it as Corey Proctor takes over at left guard. Romo, this one got away. Sailed out of the hand of Tony Romo in the direction of Terrell Owens. And again, this Pittsburgh defense good enough as the Cowboys turn it over on downs.
Yeah, it looked like initially Terrell Owens gave a signal there to Tony Romo to let him know what he was going to do. He's on the slant. Romo looks his way, but he was open much earlier than when Romo went to throw him the football right there in the hole. He waits on it, but whether he had thrown it in the first window or waited to where he was in the second window as he did, ball just getting away from Tony Romo.
Throwing with the wind. Wind about 15 miles per hour, and that one came out of his hand odd and then just took off. So now the Steelers from their own 34. Toss to Willie Parker running right. And good work by this Dallas defense stringing it out. A gain of only 2. Chris Canty is in there to make the stop for the Cowboys. And we look ahead to next Sunday. Here are the games on our slate, including the Redskins at Cincinnati, Tampa Bay at Atlanta, big game in the NFC South. Troy Pam and I will be out in the desert for the Vikings and the Arizona Cardinals. Terrence Newman back in the lineup for Dallas at left cornerback. 2nd and 8. And this one's batted into the air and incomplete. Jay Ratliff, the former defensive end and now the outstanding nose tackle for the Dallas Cowboys, got his hand up.
Jay Ratliff has had a heck of a season. He's a little different guy at nose tackle certainly than someone across the ball from him in Casey Hampton. He's a very agile guy. He's a good run stopper, but he's been outstanding in terms of rushing the passer.
So that guy, 94, who leads the league with 15 sacks. With his hand in the grass is DeMarcus Ware, 3rd and 8. Roethlisberger throws, and it's broken up. Adam Jones is out there defending against Nate Washington. And we've called Pac-Man's name a couple of times. First game back. He looks like he's in decent shape.
He does all right here. He reads the route pretty well. He's able to get to the outside. Nate Washington trying to fight across his face, not able to get there. Not surprising that Pittsburgh is going after Adam Jones because of the layoff. He was a guy who was targeted even prior to the suspension very often.
Berger hits it. Ugly punt into the wind. The Cowboys will stay away and Pittsburgh will tap it. Is defying all rules. Danger, very hot, stay back 4 feet. He's not 4 feet away.
No, I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if at halftime we don't see Tony Romo come out with some sleeves on. I mean, he's worn sleeves before, and it definitely appears that he's pretty cold out there.
Coldest game he's been a part of in the NFL is a 39-degree late afternoon game at the Redskins last year. Here's Tashard Choice. He gets 11, a first down at the 45. Choice has been good, and we go to Kurt for a game break.
Game of 11, 1st and 10 at the 45.
You got them all, Kurt. I want you to explain the Denver Broncos to me.
I tell you, I wouldn't rule San Diego out from winning that division.
Wow. That's because you're thinking with your heart. Here's Choice. Nothing there. Picks up 2. And the first 4 possessions for the Cowboys have resulted in an interception. They've turned it over on downs twice and had to punt once. Tashard Choice, a 4th-round pick out of Georgia Tech. He actually started his collegiate career behind Adrian Peterson, but transferred away from Oklahoma to get a chance to play.
Well, and he's a young guy that they really like. In fact, they compare him a lot with Marion Barber. Very mature guy, very tough running back.
He's touched it 11 times already in this game. Romo throws, and this one gets away from him. You know, this is Romo's first game throwing without the splint on that formerly broken little finger on his throwing hand, and it, you know, who knows what effect that has, but we've seen him the last 2 weeks throw the ball better with it on than we've seen him throw it here today with it off.
Well, that's true, and it was about 40 degrees warmer than what it is too.
That could factor in a little, and wind and all that.
And I think that's really the big thing right now is the wind. Yes, that's somewhat of a factor, but then, you know, those balls come up and they're cold, and they try to do what they can on the sidelines to keep them warm. But, you know, throwing these hard footballs, you know, it's sometimes hard to get a grip on the ball.
3rd down and 8. A blitz from the Steelers, and Romo goes down. The ball comes out. No signal yet from this crew, and now they're saying Pittsburgh has it. Harrison got there again. He had 2 strip sacks last week. He comes in here. Romo pulls the ball in, and I think it's coming out before the knee goes down. We'll take another slower look at it. Is the ball coming out of the right hand? Tough to see. Tough to see from that angle. Wade Phillips is going to challenge it.
Looks like it's loose. I don't think there's enough there to overturn this.
As the quarterback is coming down, the ball is loose. Therefore, it's a fumble. The ruling on the field is confirmed. Dallas has been charged with a timeout. That is their final timeout of the half.
How about James Harrison? He is now tied a club record with his 15 sacks. Mike Merriweather had 15 for Pittsburgh in 1984. And Harrison now has 13 forced fumbles in his last 23 games, and he has 3 in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he came into this week's game leading the NFL in forced fumbles, and then he has another one. I mean, he's been a one-man wrecking crew here in this first half. There's been a lot of discussion as to who the defensive player of the year is going to be. I tell you what, from what I've seen, he's got my vote.
And so now Pittsburgh working into the wind has a first down at the Dallas 45. These are 2 franchises that have each won 5 Super Bowls. They've met in 3 of them. Pittsburgh winning 2 over Dallas in the 70s, and then the Cowboys winning the last in the 95 season, Super Bowl 30. Here's Mewelde Moore. Picks up 7. Here's Kurt Menefee, who is busy. Kurt.
Play by Keith Davis. Gain of 7, 2nd down and 3.
All right, Kurt, and now another Cowboys down. This time it's Keith Davis. He made the tackle on Mewelde Moore, and now he can't get up, and the ranks are getting thin at the safety position for the Dallas Cowboys.
Boy, and that's for sure. I mean, here he is, 29. See if we can tell what might have happened to him. Hard to tell there, but you're right, Joe. I mean, a position for Dallas where they're awfully thin.
They have Roy Williams, who's on IR with a broken forearm. The multiple-time Pro Bowler. They have Patrick Watkins they just put on IR this week with a stinger. Keith Davis now, who had taken over as the starting strong safety, needs help to get off the field. Trey Battle, a first-year player, is back there at safety, and a completion to Hines Ward, who is brought down half a yard shy of a first down by Zach Thomas. And at different points, the Cowboys have had Pac-Man injured, Witten, Newman, Keith Davis, and Montre Holland. On this frigid night in Pittsburgh, it's 3rd down and 1 for the Steelers. Right now the Steelers are out of field goal range going toward this end of the field for Jeff Reed. So Roethlisberger keeps it and picks up a first down. The ball comes out. Cowboys are saying they have it. The officials look at one another and Dallas takes over.
Kind of hard to give it back to Pittsburgh when Brady James comes out of the pile holding it up in the air. I'll tell you, this is an unbelievable first half with all that has happened with the turnovers. Both defenses really stepping up and rising to the occasion and making the plays when they've had to. Here they got a short yardage situation, and you see he runs right into Chris Kimoatu, and he does not have the ball secured. I mean, there's going to be contact when you get down there in a situation like that as a quarterback on the quarterback sneak, and that's on Ben Roethlisberger. You've got to be able to protect the football better than that.
So now a turnover by the Steelers, and each side has turned it over twice, and Roethlisberger's seems to be in some pain over there as he's holding his hand, and here's Romo. Pass complete to Martellus Bennett. And big number 80, the tight end, is out just shy of the 40, picked up 6.
I'll tell you what, the way Ben is holding that left arm, I'm not sure if that's exactly, he had the ball. That's where the ball came out. He was holding it in that left arm, and maybe he got hit, and that's what caused the ball to come loose. Or whether it happened after the ball came out and he was on the bottom of the pile with his elbow.
I don't think he paid too much attention to those pictures that were handed to him as he made his way down the bench. Threw him into the bench and went over toward the Heat. 2nd and 4. Choice picks up a blitzer, and the pass too high for Roy Williams, and then Ryan Clark almost came away with an interception. Tashard Choice picked up a blitzer and showed what he can do blocking. It's 3rd and 4.
Well, they had a chance down the field once again to Roy Williams, but a ball gets out, and Tashard Choice, I mean, that's the big question as to how's he going to do. And James Harrison, if he jumps in the air, I think that's the best thing Choice could hope for. Because if James Harrison lowers his shoulder, he's got the power and the strength to just run right over him.
3rd down and 4. They just get it away, and Choice stumbles and falls down short of first down yardage. It's 4th down. That's a couple of times in this first half that Tashard Choice has had trouble keeping his feet, and Terrell Owens, the frustration is mounting with him as he's been shut out, turning 35 years old today.
But could you imagine being Tashard Choice in this game? I mean, here you are making your first NFL start against the #1 defense in the NFL in every category. I mean, you can only imagine how fast his mind is racing.
Punting with the wind is Paulescu. With Santonio Holmes waiting for it for the Steelers. And a good punt. Line drive over the head of Holmes. And it will be tapped down at the 6. Skandrick downfield to tap it for Dallas. This became much less of a must-win situation for the Cowboys because of the Falcons' loss earlier today in New Orleans. You saw the 4 divisional leaders, now the 2 teams that at the moment are out front in the wild card picture. But there's Dallas, and even if the Dallas Cowboys do not win this game here today, they would be 8-5, same as Atlanta. But because Atlanta lost to New Orleans, it's an NFC conference loss for the Atlanta Falcons. This is not a conference game for Dallas, and then Dallas goes back on top of Atlanta in the playoff picture.
I'll tell you though, if Dallas loses this game, they pull a lot of teams into the race.
That's Parker picking up nothing. If Dallas loses this game, a couple of things happen. The Giants clinch the division, the NFC East, but like you said, it pulls the Washington Redskins right back into the heart of the picture, and it certainly keeps the door open for the Philadelphia Eagles, who won today in convincing fashion at the Meadowlands.
Yeah, and even a team like the New Orleans Saints, they would be 1 game back also.
2nd down and 10. Another handoff. It's Willie Parker. A lot of dancing. Picks up 4 to the 10.
I know this has been a really frustrating year for Willie Parker, and even at the end of last year with him breaking his leg, he was leading the league in rushing at the time that happened, the 15th game of the season, and comes into this year with high expectations and gets off to a great start. Actually surprised some people with how well he ran the football in the first 2 games of the year, over 100 yards in those games, and then goes down. And since then, he's just not been healthy, and it's been good having a guy like Mwelde Moore, who was their 3rd running back, their 3rd down specialist, and for the most part, he's played very well when given his opportunities this season.
3rd down and 6. And penalty flags prior to the snap as Hines Ward was moving.
False start. Number 86, offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
I tell you, it's just you look at this game right now here in this first half, and what has transpired. Both defenses playing great, and offenses just making a lot of mistakes right now. Really some uncharacteristic mistakes. When you've got a guy like Hines Ward, a veteran player, one of the smartest players on the field, with a pre-snap penalty, you just don't typically see that from a guy like him.
3rd and 11 from the end zone. Roethlisberger throws, and it's broken up by Terrence Newman. Got in front of Washington and made a play with his left hand to force 4th down.
Really a nice play by Terrence Newman, because he's on the outside on Santonio Holmes, but he falls back underneath it to make a play. I mean, you're figuring that he's going to be out of the play because he's covering Santonio Holmes, who was nowhere near that. But Terrence Newman recognizing it and able to come underneath and get a hand on the ball.
Good luck, Mitch Berger, punting into the wind from the end zone, and it goes nowhere. It is hit, kicked forward, recovered by Pittsburgh, but did it hit a Dallas player when it was bouncing around? It stays with the Dallas Cowboys for now. Now the official changes his mind and points the other way. So initial confusion, they said Dallas, now Pittsburgh.
The ball was touched by the receiving team, recovered by the kickers. 1st down, Pittsburgh.
Well, the punt went nowhere into the wind, and let's see who this hits. Right there. It hit Trey Battle, number 35, and it went off his leg, and Lawrence Timmons was there for the recovery.
Well, and you called it. I mean, they're punting into the wind. I'm sure Battle's expecting that ball to be much further down the field, not anticipating it would get held up the way that it did.
So the Steelers now have breathing room, go deep down the sideline, and the pass broken up by Anthony Henry, intended for Nate Washington.
That's a pretty good idea right there, is the kind of arm strength that Ben Roethlisberger has. We saw the punt, just the play before that with Mitch Berger and what the wind did to it. And now they're going to take the ball and get it outside to Nate Washington against Anthony Henry. And Nate Washington is a guy with great speed, and a guy who had a heck of a stretch there on some big plays for touchdowns, and over the last few weeks has not had the big plays. Defense is finally figuring out that he's a guy that can run, and we better get on him.
On 2nd and 10, they fake a reverse and throw for Hines Ward out of his reach. Now it's 3rd down and 10, and for both teams, there's been only one play that's gone for more than 12 yards in this game. Otherwise, it's been dominated by the defense, the turnovers. Dallas, Troy's turned the ball over 3 times in this first half, and really they haven't suffered anything to this point on the scoreboard because of it.
Yeah, and we talked about it coming into this game that, you know, really the burden was going to be on this Dallas defense, because you know pretty much what you're going to get or what you're not going to get against Pittsburgh defensively, and you got to lean on your defense, your own defense, in order to hold things in control.
Now 3rd and 10 underneath. It's Mwelde Moore, and another good job by this Cowboy defense. It's 3 and out after the turnover on the punt. Kevin Burnett made the play, a gain of only 7, and the crowd getting frustrated with what they're seeing offensively from their Steelers.
Yeah, they just haven't been able to figure out exactly what they're going to be able to do against this Dallas defense. We saw them on that possession. They take the deep shot on first down. They had a shot on Hines Ward there on second. Just unable to connect.
Better punt this time by Berger. And Patrick Creighton will, I think, wisely let it go by him. And now a fight breaks out. Terrence Newman in a fight with Anthony Smith. And amazingly, there are no penalty flags thrown, and here's the genesis of that scuffle. The Jets at 8-4, Denver 7-5. Then the two teams that are at the top of the wild card push, and these teams still are definitely in the hunt in the AFC.
Well, and that's why this game, typically you look at an interconference game and they're a little less than compelling, but this one, because of what's at stake for both teams, Pittsburgh still trying to win the division as well as stay in it for a first-round bye.
Romo throws and he's intercepted, picked off by Ike Taylor. He tried to force it to Terrell Owens, and Ike Taylor was there for the interception, his first of the year.
Well, Ike Taylor kind of baited him on that one because Tony Romo turns it loose, thinking that Ike Taylor's got his back to the ball and that he can throw it without him looking. He turns, but he wheels right back around. You know, sometimes you think that you can throw that ball right off his helmet, and if the corner has his back to you, then it's a pretty easy play. But Ike Taylor immediately wheels around. I mean, he's the one guy that had so many changes at the corner opposite him. Ike Taylor's been the one constant all season long, and a nice play by him.
How about the Steelers? 5 takeaways last week at New England. They have 4 today. Here's Willie Parker. He gets to the 20.
Hey, Ike Taylor last week, he shadowed Randy Moss everywhere that he went. And it didn't always mean that he was in man-to-man coverage against him. Sometimes he was getting some help. Sometimes he was playing zone. But he did a pretty good job against Randy Moss. Some of the plays that Randy did not make were plays because he got in the slot position. But he does a great job on that one.
Second and 8. Willie Parker again. A little more room to run. He's down inches inside the 15, 3rd and short coming up.
And this is interesting looking at this right here, because Pittsburgh, a team that has not scored a lot of points, they've been very good when they've gotten in the red zone. And then when you look at Dallas defensively, over the last 3 weeks, they've been outstanding stopping teams and keeping them from scoring touchdowns in this area of the field.
Late substitutions for Dallas. 3rd down and 3. Quick throw. It's batted into the air and it drops incomplete. A penalty flag is thrown on the play.
Defense, 12th man in the field. 5-yard penalty. The result of the play will make it a first down for Pittsburgh.
Allen Ball came running on late. Then Dallas tried to call a timeout, Anthony Henry, but the Cowboys are out of timeouts. And so that is an enormous penalty because it gives Pittsburgh a first down.
That's just poor sideline management over there on the sidelines for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, here you've got Pittsburgh in a 3rd down situation. You do a great job of stopping them, and then you give them a first down because you've got too many men on the field.
So it's 1st and goal. Steelers trying to finally cash in on yet another chance as Willie Parker cannot get away from DeMarcus Ware. And then Terrence Newman on run support came up, a loss of 1.
Well, Dallas has great team speed, and Willie Parker is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, running back in the NFL, although that's not the case these days because of the fact he's been overcoming his knee injury. But this is a defense that's very difficult to bounce things on. You think of the teams that have had some success running the ball, generally speaking, they're running them right at it.
2nd and goal. whistles prior to the snap. It looked like Dallas got back defensively, and then there was movement by the Steelers on their offensive line, and the officials talk about it. Boy, Anthony Spencer was out there in coverage on Willie Parker on that player. Prior to the snap.
Who do you like in that one?
I'd take fast Willie Parker against linebacker Anthony Spencer.
Yeah, bad knee and all.
The movement may have drawn Pittsburgh into the false start.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense half the distance to the goal. Replay second down.
I agree with you, Joe. I think that they did get back, but in their attempt to get back, it's what ultimately drew Pittsburgh into the false start. So that's why Dallas got called.
So now 2nd and goal, and the ball is at the 6. Roethlisberger throws, and it floats out of the back of the end zone. Santonio Holmes, the intended receiver. 3rd and goal from the 6, and Holmes says he was being held on the play.
I'll tell you, this will be a real disappointing series for Pittsburgh if they're not able getting down this far and not being able to come away with 7 points.
Sit still. You need to sit still.
Third and goal, quick throw, incomplete for Moore. And now the field goal unit will come on. Canty got his hands up, got a piece of that throw from Roethlisberger. It's 4th down.
Yeah, because otherwise they got it to Moore. I mean, the play was executed pretty well. If Chris Canty doesn't get his hands on it, and they are able to get the ball then to Moore, I mean, that's a pretty easy touchdown.
I think he got his helmet on it. Roethlisberger hit him right in the helmet. So now a 24-yard try by Jeff Reed, who missed from 45 yards on the other end of the field in the first quarter, and this one is drilled, and we have the first points of the game.
I know the folks down there in Austin would like to see
Absolutely.
that as well. And in some ways, I guess you could say they got penalized because they did not play in yesterday's game. They had their season had already ended.
The leapfrogged Longhorns. This one returned by Adam Jones. Can't get to the 25. This Steelers defense is pitching another shutout. The NFL in rush, pass, total, and scoring defense since the merger. That's exactly what Dick LeBeau's defense is doing here in Pittsburgh in 08.
Well, Dick LeBeau, the architect of this defense, has been doing an unbelievable job in that regard in this league for a long time.
Here is Choice on a handoff, and Tashard Choice is knocked down right at the marker. And they're going to give Choice enough for a 1st down. So no timeouts remaining for Dallas as they trail by 3 with under 2.5 to play in the first half. Four-man rush. Romo throws and completes to Witten. He gets 9.
Romo's pass complete to Witten.
You're going to have to get deep into Pittsburgh territory with the field goal attempts that we've seen so far here today. 2nd and 1 for Dallas at the 2-minute warning. With 2 minutes left in the first half, Dallas down 3-0. Tony Romo playing in the coldest game he's played in his NFL career. 2nd and 1. That's Terrell Owens. Given plenty of cushion. The handoff is to Choice. The rookie running back has a 1st down. Troy, if you had told the Dallas Cowboys coming in that they could turn the ball over here in Pittsburgh 4 times in the first half and still have a chance here at the end of the half to get points and be tied or have the lead, they wouldn't have believed you.
There's no way. That was a big as it is with every offense that comes in against Pittsburgh. I mean, the big thought coming in was, hey, we just got to protect the ball and hang in there as best we can.
Here's Witten. What a catch by Jason Witten. He is fearless. With Polamalu sizing him up, Jason Witten just stuck his arms out, and the ball stuck to his hands for 22 yards. And for Dallas, their longest play of this half as Ryan Clark limps off the field. To the Pittsburgh 32. And Tashard Choice gets around one tackler, and he's down to the 28 with a minute left, and the clock still running. Dallas, no timeouts. McFadden made that last tackle.
And with this much time on the clock, obviously they're still able to work the middle of the field. They don't have to get to the sidelines.
Pass is behind Patrick Creighton. Here's Romo. After that last completion of Jason Witten.
And the big thing there is that you've just got to be able to communicate the protections so that you can pick everybody up.
Play clock is at 0, and it's a delay of game against Dallas.
Delay a game. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Right now, the Cowboys are playing with the wind. But with that penalty, it's going to take the ball back to the 33-yard line. Then you're talking about a 51-yard field goal try from this spot. It's third down. The Cowboys have visions of a touchdown, but they need to bite out some of this yardage for Nick Folk.
And you saw Romo talking to Owens there, may have told him to run a specific route, something other than what the route would have dictated in the huddle.
Pass underneath to Witten. They do take a bite out of that yardage. The ball comes out, but they blew the whistle, and the forward progress for Witten is to the 26. It's a 7-yard completion, and it would be roughly a 44-yard field goal try here with the clock running by Nick Folk, who's 15 of 17 kicking field goals this season. Good snap, good hold. Folk hits it, and just like that, with no time on the clock, the Cowboys have tied this game at 3.
Then you're cutting your opportunities short. And for Pittsburgh offensively, I don't know. I really think that in order to shake it up a little bit, maybe you go into the no huddle. That's something that Ben Roethlisberger really likes. They haven't run the ball all that well. I think that's going to be important that they run it better than they did in the first half. I think maybe the no huddle would be something good for this team right now.
Pittsburgh won the opening coin toss. They deferred. They will be playing with the wind at the end of this game. And a good return, and almost breaking free out to the 40 is Gary Russell. All right, Pam, try and stay as warm as you can.
The cold's not affecting her, is it?
No, just plowed right through. First down for Pittsburgh at their own 40. And Willie Parker out to the 45, picked up 5. And we'll take a look at what the Steelers have done in the third quarter. And is it coincidence? Is it not? It certainly has something to do with the coaching they're getting at halftime and the adjustments that they're able to make, especially defensively, as they have not allowed a third quarter touchdown all year.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when people look at halftime adjustments or discuss them, they're vastly overrated. But you look at those numbers, clearly there's some good things happening in the Steelers locker room at halftime.
Second down and 5. Play action from Roethlisberger, and with Spears bearing down on Big Ben, Roethlisberger threw it behind Willie Parker. He wasn't ready for it, and that was basically Roethlisberger just dumping it to avoid a sack. It's 3rd and 5.
Yeah, he's trying to get the ball underneath, and Willie Parker just not expecting it, even though he was running out as though he was going to go into a check down area. And I'm not so sure that Mewelde Moore isn't the guy you go with here in this second half. I know Bruce Arians said we're going to go with the hot hand. Not that either have been hot, but Mewelde Moore has been the hotter of the two.
Roethlisberger 6 of 19 in this game for 63 yards. And down he goes, and what a hit off the edge. Scandrick, the rookie. That wasn't just a sack. That had an exclamation mark at the end of it as Scandrick gets his first NFL sack.
And that's right to Roethlisberger's front side, and he sees it at the last minute. And you're right, Joe. I mean, a big hit there by Scandrick on Roethlisberger. This guy who's taken a lot of hits this season. You know, sometimes it's a tendency to hold on to the football. That was not one of them.
Berger punts it into the wind, and Pac-Man Jones on the return gets sandwiched short of the 35. First Dallas sack forces the punt. A Pittsburgh team that has forced 9 turnovers in the last 4 quarters they've played. 5 in the second half at New England, 4 in the first half against Dallas in this one. A gain of 1.5 yards by Choice. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt.
By 91, Aaron Smith. Second down and 9.
All right, Kurt, thank you. Lining up without Jason Witten are the Dallas Cowboys on 2nd and 8. A blitz coming. Romo's in trouble and turns it into a positive play of 5 yards. Kershke on the stop for Pittsburgh, and we'll try and get some sort of report as to what exactly is wrong with Jason Witten. He left in the first half, was rolled up on from behind, hurt his ankle according to their sideline. If there's any update, we'll give it to you. 3rd and 3.
Pretty good job on that last play by Dallas along that offensive line. Just nowhere for Romo to throw the football, but at least he was able to get enough yardage to make this a manageable 3rd down.
Handoff is to Choice. Big hole right up the middle of this defense. And Tashard Choice takes it to the 37-yard line. A 23-yard run. And for Choice, his longest run in the NFL.
And because it was 3rd and short, it gave them the opportunity then to run the draw. You see the lane there that Tashard Choice had. I mean, nobody's able to even get near him, and that's something that you don't see a lot from Pittsburgh. Coming into this game, they lead the National Football League in keeping teams from getting yards of 20 or more. Only 2 runs all season long. Now they have 3.
Romo throws, and over the middle. Pass is caught. That's Bennett, the tight end. A gain of 13 yards as Tony Romo is trying somehow to get in a rhythm. It hasn't happened to this point in the game, but a completion for another 1st down.
Yeah, and good protection for Tony Romo. And Martellus Bennett, he was working the middle of the field, and just nobody was picking him up. He was there for a while. Romo could have actually even gotten the ball to him sooner than what he did.
From what we understand, Jason Witten is not even out of the locker room for the Dallas Cowboys, while his teammates have taken it to the Pittsburgh 25. End zone. Williams nearly intercepted. William Gay was back there defending, and he got both hands, it looked like, on the football.
They're fortunate that that ball wasn't intercepted, and I think that was a predetermined throw by Tony Romo because he had Martellus Bennett again. You're going to see Martellus Bennett work the middle of the field. He goes straight up the field, linebacker level. They turn him completely loose. You see this hole right there. But Romo wanted the home run shot, and just fortunate that it wasn't another turnover.
2nd down and 10. Choice gets it over the left side. Tashard Choice has another big run for Dallas. Gain of 12. And Choice is really playing without much of a net. His backup is Alonzo Coleman, who was just activated off the practice squad. And this rookie, Tashard Choice, has been definitely impressive here in his first start.
Well, they got in behind Leonard Davis, who pulled and led the way, and Tashard Choice has been awfully impressive. I mean, he's not going to get for a lot of yards because of who he's going up against, but he's been running tough. And it looks like this Dallas staff made the better adjustments at halftime.
Up to 79 yards, however, on the day as Ryan Clark comes off the edge to make the play, a gain of 1. These are two safeties for the Pittsburgh Steelers that if you're running down the middle of the field, you better be aware because they will take your head off.
Boy, will they. You know, everybody knows about Troy Polamalu, and I think because of that, a guy like Ryan Clark oftentimes gets overshadowed. But Ryan Clark has been a main contributor for this team this season. And was last year as well until he got hurt.
Terrell Owens has been shut out, barely even in that last huddle. Romo with all day. Can't find anywhere to go with it, and now throws it into the end zone, and there's Owens. First catch, first touchdown of the evening.
Well, they were going after Romo, and he just keeps the play alive just when you think he needs to turn it loose and avoid the sack. You know, this secondary for Pittsburgh, they're not accustomed to having to cover receivers for 6 and 7 seconds. Ike Taylor there on Terrell Owens. He just got his back to him. He's in a good position with all that time that Romo had. Covered him actually pretty well, but got his back to the ball and unable to make a play.
9th touchdown of the season for Terrell Owens. Well, an impressive drive put together by Dallas. 66 yards, working with the win and getting the first touchdown of this game. Terrell Owens gets it as Tony Romo kept the play alive, and now Gary Russell on the return for the Steelers out across the 25-yard line. Down by 7, starting at their own 26. Out of the shotgun. Pass is low, but caught by Moore, who's tripped up by Hamlin, a gain of 6. Back to the touchdown.
Yeah, now watch. They got James Harrison and Lamar Woodley, their two best pass rushers that don't rush on this play. You're going to see the kind of time now that Tony Romo has with a 3-man rush. And these big guys in the middle, they're just not accustomed to trying to rush somebody for this kind of time. Romo keeping it alive, but I've got to believe that had they have been able to rush James Harrison or Lamar Woodley, one of those guys would have beat and got Romo long before then.
Down and 4. Here is Mewelde Moore again, and he's brought down right at the marker. We'll go for a game break. Here's Kurt Menefee.
First and 10, Steeler ball at the 36.
And getting the touchdown pass from Seneca Wallace. Hasselbeck's back is bothering him again, and that would be a crushing defeat for the New England Patriots if they go to Seattle and lose after taking it on the chin last week at home from these Steelers.
Yeah, a team that was very much alive last week and feeling good about their team, and a tough loss, and then to travel out west and get beat again.
Roethlisberger, DeMarcus Ware with another sack. League leading 16 for DeMarcus.
Well, DeMarcus Ware, I mean, he has gotten better and better with each week. He knows how to set people up. He keeps playing. And you got Roethlisberger, who's trying to buy some time, but you're just not going to be able to outrun DeMarcus Ware.
Second down and 17, a loss of 7 on the sack by Ware. Pass is to Heath Miller, and a good open field tackle by Adam Pac-Man Jones. Gain of 6.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I mean, the Cowboys, they'll let them complete that pass all day long. In fact, Brian Stewart, in talking with him the other day, the defensive coordinator, he said if Heath Miller, in fact, we'd like to see Heath Miller have about 6 or 7 catches in this game, because if he's catching that many balls, then we know they're not getting the ball to the outside to some of their big play threats. and they haven't really been able to do much of anything here in this game.
3rd down and 11. Four-man rush. Roethlisberger not going to get anywhere close to 1st down yardage. Out to the 42, and again the Dallas defense steps up. The big sack from DeMarcus Ware for a loss of 7 during that possession, and another punt coming from the Steelers.
I tell you, I think you got to be pretty pleased with not only what we've seen of Dallas defensively in this ball game, but what we've seen of them here over the last 4 or 5 games, with the exception being against the New York Giants. Outside of that, even when Romo was down, this defense has been pretty decent and has kept this team in a lot of games.
The punt by Berger hops out of bounds, and they're going to mark it even on the field, let alone in the huddle or running pass patterns. He's back, starting at their own 28. Romo underneath. Terrell Owens makes a great catch down around his knees and hops out of bounds with a gain of 11 down to Pam Oliver.
Joe, another ailment for Jason Witten, who's still in the game. He was taken back for x-rays on his chest. The x-rays were negative. It wasn't anything related to that rib injury, I've been told.
Interesting. Jason Witten played through that rib injury, has always been one of the toughest players in the league, and he's playing in his 88th straight game.
I tell you, he's the whole package. I mean, a great player, but he's also tough.
Tashard Choice is showing what he's made of as Polamalu makes the play, a gain of only 1, but already Tashard Choice has had the best day any running back has had against this Steeler defense. 81 yards. Polamalu made that play, but Troy Novak had gone over 73 yards against Polamalu and company this year coming into this game.
Well, they've done a good job of sticking with the running game. I mean, early on they weren't able to get a whole lot going, and you can't get to where you're just throwing the football against Pittsburgh. They've stuck with the run, and then here in this second half they've been able to get some big plays out of it.
2nd down and 9. Underneath, there's Tashard Choice. Good throw by Romo. Choice is trying to stay in bounds. He does, and he's dragged down at the 10. Ryan Clark on the tackle. Andre Gerard is behind the play, slow to get up, but able to jog down the field. Now Clark is injured in a 50-yard catch and run by Tashard Choice.
Well, pretty remarkable. I mean, all they do is come underneath to Tashard Choice, and how they don't knock him out of bounds there. I mean, they got 3 guys in a position in order to keep him from getting up the field. You see Ike Taylor's in a position and 2 other guys. You got Ferrier and Polamalu who run into each other, and Choice is able to get about another 15 yards out of it.
Now Romo in trouble, stays alive, throws it left-handed out of the end zone in the direction of Roy Williams.
I'm not so sure he wasn't trying to get that ball to him. I mean, he had it in his left hand. I don't think it was just him throwing it away. He's able to escape the pocket, and Roy Williams was wide open. He's trying to throw it to Roy left-handed. I'm not so sure he had to try to do it that way either.
He didn't have quarterbacks in Detroit that did that. 2nd and goal. Here's Choice. Choice picks up 3. Ryan Clark on the tackle. It's 3rd and goal.
3rd and goal at the 7. Tackled by Clark.
From the 7-yard line, under 4.5 to play, and Dallas is trying to add to a 7-point lead.
Well, you look at it and you say right now it's a 1-possession game, and even if Dallas ends up having to settle for a field goal and make it a 2-possession game, Pittsburgh offensively is not showing any of it. I mean, they can't move the ball. I mean, let alone come away with 2 scores.
How about Tashard Choice? First start, 157 total yards. 3rd and goal. A blitz. Romo goes down. James Ferrier.
Ferrier.
And So the defense steps up for Pittsburgh, gets the sack. And the Cowboys bring their field goal unit onto the field.
Well, and even here, Romo is able to get away from Eaton there, and then Ferrier is able to come in and make the play.
Johnson will hold.
A little bit of a hold there on Ike Taylor with Terrell Owens.
A 33-yard field goal.
So now a 33-yard try by Folk, who hits it. What a coming out party, and the first NFL start for Tashard Choice, 4th-round pick out of Georgia Tech. This is Russell again. And Gary Russell crosses the 25. Appreciate it. He got on TV, and they're not even shown. Roethlisberger, down he goes again. This time it's Burnett. A loss of 6. And this has been an overwhelming effort by a Dallas defense that came in ranked 9th in the league at the start of the day.
Yeah, these guys just shoot the gaps right there, and it's just, you know, even sometimes when you've got a man responsible for blocking, it's one-on-one matchups. Who's going to win the matchup? And Dallas up front. And when they brought linebackers, as they did there, they're just beating the guy that they have to in order to get to Roethlisberger.
The Steelers have just 95 yards of offense in this game. Roethlisberger throws, and what a hit as that ball is deflected, incomplete. And that was Burnett, who just got the sack, drilling Heath Miller, and Ratliff almost got the interception. How'd it sound?
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe, this is an offense that is just completely overwhelmed. I mean, you can watch it. You can see Roethlisberger. You can see this offensive line. I mean, just no idea where they're coming from and no idea how to counteract it.
Third down and 16. Roethlisberger going to air it out, hoping. Santonio Holmes. Exactly what the Steelers needed against Terrence Newman, 47 yards.
You know, Terrence Newman gives him a big cushion right from the start, but you're going to see Newman peeks inside. Watch him as Santonio Holmes right there. Terrence Newman's looking inside, not expecting Santonio Holmes to go by him, but thinking, well, they're just going to do what they have to do to try to pick up the first down.
A huge third down completion by Roethlisberger. And now Ben throws and completes to Washington, who's wrestled down at the 26, a gain of 7. Anthony Henry on the stop for Dallas.
You know, so many times you see it to where just one play all of a sudden kind of gets you going a little bit. And the one play down the field to Holmes, obviously a big play, but they come right off of that, and then they get a nice gain there on first down.
A 47-yard completion to Holmes, and then 7 yards right after to bring up 2nd and 3. Handoff. Moore. And Troy, I think the Steelers are thinking along the same lines as you were earlier, that Mewelde Moore seems to be the guy with the hotter hand of the two. And it's been a lot more of Moore than Willie Parker for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and Mewelde Moore is the healthier of the two. And it's hard to get into a rhythm when you are rotating guys. I understand it was effective last week against New England, but it hasn't been effective here today. I think they've got to ride Mewelde Moore out.
Second time inside the red zone for the Steelers in this game. Roethlisberger in trouble. Still in trouble. Got rid of the football. Was his knee down? Right now they're saying, well, the two officials are looking at each other and they're not saying anything.
Yeah, I thought his knee was down, Joe.
I did too, but they're not making any indication.
tell
Here's
you,
the call.
Just a heck of a job for
The
him getting out of
quarterback
the
is
pocket.
out of the pocket and gets the ball to the line of scrimmage. Second down.
But that's not the question. The Cowboys are asking their sideline, the defensive players, to throw the challenge flag, saying that Roethlisberger's knee was down before he got rid of that pass.
And there goes Wade Phillips, and he's going to challenge it.
And I think he'll win the challenge. Jason Hatcher was on his back, and Roethlisberger's right knee, it appeared, was on the ground before the ball left his throwing hand.
Tell you, Roethlisberger just did a good job just getting out as far as he did.
Dallas is reviewing the previous play.
But there's no question that his right knee there is on the ground prior to him letting go of the ball.
So Hatcher was there, and at the end of this challenge may get a sack. Burnett has a sack on this drive by Pittsburgh. The big 47-yard completion to Santonio Holmes, and as you said, Troy, you wonder if that's going to be the spark for this Pittsburgh Steelers offense, because to this point we came in talking all about the Steelers defense, but it's been the Dallas defense that's been more impressive.
Which has been a little surprising, to be quite honest with you. I mean, not taking anything away from Dallas defensively, because as I've said, they've been awfully good, but I think we both expected Pittsburgh to be able to run the football a little bit better than what they have, maybe create a few bigger plays. But, you know, Roethlisberger just has not gotten any protection. I mean, sometimes you can say, yes, he'll hold on to the ball and he'll absorb some of those sacks and it'll be his fault. But I don't really think that's been the case. I mean, he's been fighting for everything he's gotten when he's dropped back to throw.
So this is going to be an interesting challenge here, and Roethlisberger is to the sideline to talk about it. Here's another look at it. It certainly looked like Hatcher had Roethlisberger down. His knee was down. Ball is in his hand. Should be a sack as opposed to an incompletion. And there's a pretty definitive look at it. It's either 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 17 for the Steelers in what is right now a 10-point game. There's only 28 seconds left in the third quarter. But Al Riverone is still looking at it under the hood, maybe trying to determine where the ball should be spotted, as I think we all expect a reversal of the call that happened on the field.
Yeah, and those are significant yards too when you're talking about a difference in an incompletion and a sack. If they're unable to pick up any yards there before attempting a field goal, I mean, going into the wind, kicking this into the wind, you know, every yard counts.
So I would imagine with the length of time that Riverone has been under the hood that the call would be reversed, and the question is, where is the ball going to be spotted? As we have it, it will be 2nd and 17 as opposed to 2nd and 10. With 28 seconds remaining in this third quarter, and we'll help you out. And you could say, what, 26, 27-yard line? While Bruce Arians, the offensive coordinator, goes over it with Roethlisberger, and now the call from Riverone.
The quarterback was down prior to releasing the ball. He was down at the 26-yard line, therefore 2nd down.
So it pushes the ball back to the 26. And you see what's happened against the NFC East. 4 games against the NFC East. The Steelers have been sacked Roethlisberger 23 times, 4 times today. In the 9 other games, just 17.
Hold.
They'll wind the game clock. And it's 2nd and 18. Roethlisberger in trouble. Gets away from Ratliff. Still hanging on to the ball. Fires and completes to Holmes. The catch is good.
Man.
It's short of a first down, but what a job by Roethlisberger. Talk about a guy holding on to the ball for a long time, and he ends up with a completion.
Well, that's a dumb play if he gets sacked, but what a great play since he didn't. You know, I mean, the last thing that he could afford right there was to take a sack. And he got away with it. I mean, he was able to keep that thing alive and make a heck of a throw there to Santonio Holmes. Just outstanding.
It'll be third down when we come back. We go to the final quarter here in Pittsburgh. Now the Steelers will be working with the wind for the final period. They trail by 10, 3rd and 6, and the ball is at the Dallas 14. They've been looking and working on Jay Ratliff, who missed on that sack moments ago before the completion of Santonio Holmes. Penalty flag comes flying on the play, and this one's for Holmes out of his reach. But a flag is down, and it's an offside against Dallas.
Offside, number 98, defense, 5-yard penalty, replay third down.
So they get Greg Ellis, who was offside on the play, and that makes it 3rd and 1.
You can see Greg Ellis down here, and I didn't see the movement. I don't know if they got the wrong guy, but I didn't see anything from Greg Ellis that suggested that he was moving or was offsides at the snap.
I just think he was lined up in the neutral zone and was so for about 15 seconds. 3rd down and 1. Gary Russell gets it. What a time for his first carry as he picks up a 1st down with a gain of 4.
You know, what a huge penalty. Earlier in the game they had 12 men on the field, which kept the drive going, and then to be able to force Pittsburgh to have to try to settle for a field goal. I don't know if that's Zach Thomas that's down right there. It sure looks like it.
Steelers converted on 3rd down. They've done that twice on this drive. Now 1st and goal, and Willie Parker picks up a 1.5 yards.
Tell you, I think it's going to be tough sledding here trying to run this football in. You know what they have not done, Pittsburgh that is they've really not moved Ben outside the pocket. You know, when he's gotten outside the pocket, it's been because of pressure, and Dallas has been able to just pin their ears back and go to that 8-yard spot right behind the center. But I think it'd be a good idea to move him a little bit, especially down here.
Second and goal, Willie Parker. Marcus Spears on the stop as Parker got to the 1, a gain of 2. It's 3rd and goal.
And this gets interesting, assuming that if Pittsburgh does not score here, you know what they would decide to do. I mean, obviously you have to kick the field goal here and make it a 1-possession game, but boy, I think you'd sure be tempted to go for it on 4th down. It'd be interesting to see what Mike Tomlin would ultimately decide.
Russell is the tailback on 3rd and goal. Play action. Pass complete, and the tackle is made by Hamlin. That's Corey Davis, the fullback. And now here is the decision. It's 4th down. The ball is inside the 1 with the Steelers trailing by 10.
Yeah, I don't think they got any more closer to the goal line, though, on this possession or on this catch. You know, good job there by Ken Hamlin, just not allowing him to get his shoulders turned up the field.
Pittsburgh will go for it.
Yeah, and I don't like the call. I think you got to make it a 1-possession game.
Russell brought down, he lost yardage. Davis in there, and Brady James. And this Dallas defense steps up and makes. Now Dallas starts at their own 3 after their defense held. Actually even got a little more breathing room as Brady James made that play in the offensive backfield on 4th and goal. And here is Choice. These will be tough yards as he takes it out to the 5.
You go back and you look at that 4th down play, and you're going to see Cologne here, who's supposed to block here and then pick up Brady James, but he loses his balance. And Russell is supposed to stay on the front side, which is to this right side here off the counter action. But because Brady's there, he has to cut it back. And that's where Keith Davis, then he filled the hole on the weak side.
Steelers are the worst fourth down offense in the NFL now, 2 for 11. And Pittsburgh still trails by 10, 2nd and 8. Romo throws. Terrell Owens makes the catch. And Owens has enough, it appears, for a Dallas first down. Depends on the spot. The two officials look at each other, and it's a first down for Dallas. Let's go to Kurt for a game break. Wow. Interesting. On first down, Choice brought down by Polamalu. No gain. The Jets lead the AFC East at 8-4, but they're losing at San Francisco. Right behind them, New England at 7-5. They're now leading at Seattle, and Miami is playing Buffalo. They also are 7-5.
Things are getting pretty physical out on the outside. Ike Taylor and Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens going right to the headgear. Should have drawn a flag.
Miami beat Buffalo in Toronto. So that's a big win for the Dolphins, as they're now 8-5. AFC East tight at the top. Here's Tashard Choice. Makes the catch, survives a hit from Brian McFadden, and a gain of 4.
Now this becomes a big third down here for Pittsburgh. I think, clearly Mike Tomlin, when he makes the decision to go for it there on 4th down, he knows what the risk is, and if they don't make it, then he's assuming his defense is going to be able to step up and shut down this Dallas offense and give the ball right back to the Steelers offense with a chance to cut it back to a 1-possession game. If the Cowboys are able to get a first down here, obviously they're going to milk a lot more time off the clock.
It's 3rd down and 6. It's Choice. Polamalu makes the play, as he has done all year, every year in his 6th season from USC.
Dallas has had some success in this ball game on 3rd down, running the draw there to Tashard Choice, and Troy Polamalu does a great job of being able to bring him to the ground.
9 tackles and an interception for Polamalu in this game. So the punt from Polescu into the wind, tries to hit a line drive. Pretty effective punt. Santonio Holmes on a hop. Santonio Holmes out of bounds near the 25. That's where they'll mark him. A 35-yard return, longest of the year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Temperature has dropped 5 degrees since we started. 17. Wind chill of 7 degrees. First down, Pittsburgh down 10 at the Dallas 25. The Cowboys punt netted a total of 7 yards of field position after the 35-yard return by Santonio Holmes. Roethlisberger keeps it alive, and Spaeth, the tight end, survives a hit from Brady James, and Brady James may not have. He hit Spaeth hard and is slow to get up.
Watch Roethlisberger. He looks behind him to see if there's a pass rusher that's on his back. And more times than not in this game there has been. He keeps it alive and into the hands of Spaeth.
Brady James was able to pop up and run off the field. A game-high 10 tackles for Brady. A forced fumble, a fumble recovery. Bobby Carpenter takes his place. Handoff is to Willie Parker, who has been bottled up all game. Picks up 2. And a 3rd and short coming up for the Steelers.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, that's, as we said, that's kind of, this is what the Steelers are about. And I get that. They just have not been able to get anybody really loose running the football. This Dallas defense inside has done a good job, even when it looks like there might be a lane for a runner. The pursuit coming from the backside has closed it down.
Brady James back in the lineup. on 3rd and 2. Roethlisberger is sacked again. Jay Ratliff gets his 7th of the season. And Roethlisberger has been a sitting duck back there for Pittsburgh.
And what Roethlisberger's pointing out is Heath Miller, when he comes off, you're going to see Keith Davis, who jams him just when Roethlisberger was getting ready to turn the ball loose. Well beyond the 5 yards. Heath Miller immediately looking for a flag. But you see, Roethlisberger was wanting to go to Miller. And just as he's getting ready to throw it, that's when Davis came up and had the collision. And that's a legitimate argument right there by Ben Roethlisberger.
41-yard try now by Reed as the Cowboys just racked up their 5th sack of this game, all in the second half. And Reed banks it in off the right upright to make this a 7-point game with 7 minutes and 15 seconds left. Good from 41. Good snap, good hold, good deflection. And so Reed is 2 for 3 in this game.
In the last play, Hines Ward, he took a pretty good shot himself. He's running the slant route, and Anthony Henry trying to say, hey, I didn't do anything. Nobody was watching that one either. You know, they haven't been able to get the ball to Hines Ward either much in this game.
So Ward's been frustrated. Roethlisberger frustrated with no call on the contact by Davis on Heath Miller, and so the field goal makes it a 7-point game.
Well, by Pittsburgh getting the field goal there and cutting this to a 7-point game, I mean, now the pressure clearly on Dallas in order to keep the ball and keep the ball away from Pittsburgh, and then the pressure also on this Pittsburgh defense, and I don't think that they would have it any other way.
Reed hits it. And this is a big mistake by Reed. Kicking with the wind, he drills it out of bounds, and Dallas will get a leg up at the start of this possession at their own 40. We came on the air talking about this matchup a few hours ago, and you talked about the need within this organization, the feel for the Dallas Cowboys, that they needed to show some toughness, and they're trying to come out of here showing a lot of toughness defensively and coming away with a big win on the road.
Well, huge win, and regardless of what happens here over the next few minutes, they have proven their toughness. There's no doubt, and that comes from within the organization. And talking with players and coaches, they didn't feel they ended last season very tough. They felt that they needed to show some toughness here in December as they hopefully get into January, and I think they've begun to show signs of that, and they've certainly done it again today.
Here is Choice, gets a yard. December and January, as we said, have been nasty months for the Dallas Cowboys since 1997. The record it's really unbelievable. 18 and 31 in those 2 months. That's since the 96 season, which is the last time the Dallas Cowboys won a playoff game. Tony Romo trying to get the Cowboys back to the postseason. He's 0-2 in his playoff career. 2nd and 9. Romo goes down. Kershke on top of him. And a big sack by this Steeler defense.
You're going to see the push. Casey Hampton, he doesn't even rush. He just stands up, and I don't know if he's shadowing Romo or what exactly he's doing, but Kershke's able to get the push there on Proctor. And I didn't see Romo. I thought that's what I saw. I saw Romo just go down. I didn't see Kershke actually bring him to the ground as much as maybe Romo slipped or just didn't feel that he could get away.
3rd down and 15. Cowboys turned it over 4 times in the first half, have not turned it over here in the second half. Romo's in trouble again, finds the out valve with Witten, who is brought down short of first down yardage. Good play by Townsend, a gain of 9, 4th down Dallas.
Tell you, that was a little closer probably than what Pittsburgh might have liked. Townsend came in with just his shoulder, and Witten almost was able to get away from that.
Clock continues to run. 5.5 left here in the game.
But a great job by Pittsburgh defensively. You know, kick that goes out of bounds. Dallas gets the ball on the 40, and to go 3 and out. A very successful job there by the Steelers defense.
Sack in there, credited to Kershke, and just a drive of 4 yards. Pelescu hits it into the wind. And neither punter has had any success punting in that direction. And they will mark it at the 33. And then after a good punt return by Santonio Holmes, the last time the Steelers had it, they got a field goal that hit off the right upright, went through by Reed to make it 13-6. Now at 3 and out, Steelers have it back. Roethlisberger fires, and it is, well, no signal yet, and now they're saying a catch by Nate Washington. This officiating crew, they just keep looking at each other, and finally they rule it a catch.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh finally going to a no huddle. There's still plenty of time in this game, but they are going to a no huddle, something that we've not seen.
And no chance to look at it, maybe review it, as Washington makes the catch. Stays on his feet, and Nate Washington is to the Dallas 32.
And you're right, Joe. That's why they went to the no huddle, to hurry him get the ball snapped so it wouldn't get reviewed. I thought that it was a completion from up here.
Here's the one to Nate Washington.
Yeah, and they just run a simple slant route. You know, a lot of times when you go to something like that, you've got something called already. You work on that during the week. Hey, if we're going to get a play challenged, hurry up and get it snapped. Here's the routes we're going to run. And they get a big gain out of it.
That one to Washington, good for 21 yards. Steelers have to get it into the end zone as Roethlisberger down the middle behind Hines Ward, and incomplete. Hines Ward absolutely wide open, but Roethlisberger threw it behind him.
Yeah, wide open, and I don't know if Roethlisberger was thinking maybe Hines Ward would throttle this thing down a little bit. You know, you're in an open area, slow it down, knowing that he had Ken Hamlin maybe out in front of that.
Ward, one catch for just 2 yards in this game.
I think you look at Dallas defensively and you say, you know, they've done so well throughout the entire game, but this is when the game's on the line, when you got to make a play.
2nd down and 10. Blitz coming from Dallas. Roethlisberger, that's up into the air and incomplete. We had a new audience join us prior to the 2nd and 10. Now it's 3rd and 10, and this has been probably what any NFL fan would have thought coming in. It's been a defensive struggle. It's been a great first start in the NFL for Tashard Choice. With what he's done, 86 rushing yards, 78 receiving yards. Romo's had a much better second half. Roethlisberger has been sacked 5 times by the Cowboys, all in this second half. Dallas trying to win their 4th in a row. Third down and 10. Roethlisberger steps away from trouble. Now he'll try and run. And he is brought down very close to first down yardage.
Boy, it looked like if he had taken off right from the beginning when he had a lane and not hesitated, he could have picked that up very easily.
Our line is unofficial, but Roethlisberger looks to be a little short. And if he is, it'll be another 4th down coming up. But Al Riverone, the referee, wants to measure.
You saw him start to the outside there and still pumping, looking downfield to throw. Had he have taken off right away, that would have been an easy pickup.
It's like the Steelers game last week in New England. Had a couple of those, and this one is, what, 2 inches short of a first down, and so it's 4th and inches. Moments ago, if you're just joining us, this Dallas defense on 4th and goal from inside the 1 stopped Pittsburgh. And now the Dallas defense, which has been outstanding here on the road today, will look for another stop.
Well, I got to imagine that they'll just let Ben Roethlisberger sneak this one. You know, sometimes you'd hate to try to use a hard count Because if you draw your own guys offsides, then you got a real problem.
Solid, solid. On the sneak.
Roethlisberger keeps it. Certainly looked like he picked up 2 inches, but we'll see where they place it. And Riverone's going to measure again.
Well, that's interesting. I'm like you, Joe. I thought he definitely picked it up. But it's close enough that they're going to have to come out and measure this, it appears.
Kemoeatu gets out of the pile fighting with Ken Hamlin. They break that up. First of all, they haven't placed the ball down yet. Now they finally do. And I'll tell you, when they put it down, it is going to be. Boy, it's going to be close. I mean, it is right there, as you can see on our red line. And they're going to bring the chains back out with 3:17 to play. I think Mike Tomlin's frustrated with the spot of where they placed it. Is it enough anyway for a first down? It is. First down, Steelers.
Tell you, Mike Tomlin's a young guy, but he's aging by the second here.
The Steelers a game out in front of the Baltimore Ravens at the start of the day. The Ravens play tonight at home against the Redskins. Both teams interested in this game. The Redskins trail the Cowboys and the Giants in the NFC East. Roethlisberger over the middle. Washington on the catch to the 5. And his knee was twisted on the tackle by Ken Hamlin.
You see how quickly Ben Roethlisberger got down there to check on him. He knew right away that he was hurt pretty bad. A good job by Roethlisberger of hanging in the pocket. What a catch there by Nate Washington. A ball that was behind him. And there's where he got twisted up.
And so the training staff is out to check on Washington, and Nate pops up. He's all right. And pumped up after setting up 1st and goal. The Steelers are alive, down by 7. And that's literally hopping up.
What a contributor he has been this year. You know, Bruce Arians telling us that he thinks of him as a starter, even though he's their 3rd wide receiver.
Extra men on the pass rush. That's Heath Miller. Touchdown. If you could read the lips of Dan Rooney, who we showed in the owner's box, he said go for 2, and then kind of raised his shoulders and laughed. They're not going to go for 2. They're going to try and tie it here with the extra point.
Well, the way Reed's been kicking, this isn't a gimme.
Nothing is with these conditions. And that one sneaks in. And this game is tied with 2 minutes 4 seconds left.
What a great job by Ben Roethlisberger laying this thing out. Perfect ball placement there in front of Heath Miller. He doesn't have to break stride, and by doing that, he then can get his shoulders turned up the field and challenge Hamlin then to the pylon. Any ball anywhere else, Hamlin's probably able to make the tackle and keep him from scoring.
And so now the focus offensively switches to the other side, and Tony Romo and Terrell Owens getting it together before they take the field. Again, working.
And you get a chance then to go down there and get a touchdown and tie this game up. And that's exactly what they did. And that's what Ben Roethlisberger has been about throughout his entire career.
These two teams are meeting for the 30th time. The Cowboys have the edge. They've won 15, lost 14. Good kickoff this time by Reed. Pac-Man Jones dropped it and can't make it to the 20. The Cowboys have their playmakers on the field. The Steelers have their defense on the field. Tie game, a minute 58 left. Tashard Choice on the handoff, and the rookie is thrown back after a gain of 2. And Pittsburgh's got to think about using timeouts, and they spend one right here. Their first timeout. They need a hold defensively and then force Dallas to punt into the wind to get good field position and let her roll. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Well, that's right, Joe. I mean, if Dallas is unable to get a first down and keep this ball, and Pittsburgh's able to stop them and force the punt, Pittsburgh's going to get awfully good field position off of that.
An old school interconference matchup between the Cowboys and the Steelers. 2nd and 8. Romo throws high, intercepted. Townsend. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
I tell you what, Joe, I don't know what happened on that route or what Tony Romo saw. It sure seemed like there was a miscommunication here with Romo and Witten. Witten hooked it up, but that was a ball that sailed on Romo regardless. You know, Witten points at himself as he's looking at Tony Romo saying, hey, that was all on me. You know, Romo's expecting Witten to break outside. He hooked up. But even if he had broken outside, I'm not so sure that it would have been a completion. Maybe at least Witten could have gotten a hand on it and it wouldn't have been intercepted. But what a job by this Pittsburgh defense. They've been showing up when they've had to all year long. And with the game on the line, Deshae Townsend with the interception and the go-ahead touchdown.
And the Steelers have scored 14 points in 24 seconds. And it's Townsend getting the interception, getting the touchdown. It's Pittsburgh on top now. At one point they led 3-0, trailed 13-3 here in the second half. Now lead 20-13 with a minute 40 left. There were 7 minutes and 15 seconds left in this game, and the Steelers trailed by 10. And now with a minute 40 left, they lead by 7. This is Isaiah Stanback from inside the end zone. Cowboys need a big run back, and they don't get it. Flipped by William Gay. And with 1:35 left and 3 timeouts, back to the field is Tony Romo. And again, we talk about the December-January record for this franchise, which has been dismal since the start of 1997. Last year 2-2, needing a win here in Pittsburgh, leading. Steelers have come back, and now Dallas has to march down the field and get it into the end zone. Pass is caught by Roy Williams. And Williams made the catch. They're going to give him enough for a first down. William Gay on the stop. 1:20 and counting. Dallas with all 3 of their timeouts. Underneath, this one sails on Romo, but it stops the clock out of the reach of Choice with 1:07 left. One of the more important things that might have happened came at the very beginning of this game when Pittsburgh won the toss. They deferred, and therefore they're getting to play with the wind here in the final quarter, which makes it that much more difficult for the Dallas Cowboys, down by 7.
Well, it is because of where they're at on the field, and then knowing, yes, they have some timeouts left, but they've got to get some big chunks. And trying to drive the ball into this win, not easy to do.
2nd and 10. Romo gets away from Woodley and throws into the chest of Choice, incomplete. 3rd and 10.
Romo just does a good job of being able to get this one out. He's able to get away from Lamar Woodley, but they fail to complete the ball there, and Choice would have been able to pick up some decent yardage had he have been able to catch it.
A Steelers defense that hasn't allowed a 300-yard day by any offense all season. They've allowed 289 today. 3rd down and 10. Romo throws. Terrell Owens way out of his reach. It's 4th down with 55 seconds left.
We've seen Romo be able to drive his team over the years, the last couple of years, in these types of situations and do a pretty good job, but he's never faced anything like this Pittsburgh defense before.
4th and 10. Play clock is at 13. Dallas may have to burn a timeout with the clock stopped.
Well, they should, because it all comes down to this play.
And they do. If Dallas does not come back in this game, the Cowboys will break their 3-game winning streak. They'll be 8-5. They will assure the New York Giants of a division championship here today. The Giants win the NFC East if the Cowboys lose here in Pittsburgh. And as we talked about earlier, because Atlanta lost at New Orleans, Dallas, this is not a must-win situation for the Cowboys, but it certainly makes the rest of the season a lot more interesting for Washington, a lot more interesting for the Philadelphia Eagles, who were very convincing in their win over the Giants at the Meadowlands today.
And I think there are a lot of good things to take from this game if they don't win, but this would be a heartbreaking loss for Dallas and how they would be able to regroup.
4th down and 10. Romo throws incomplete between Creighton and Witten. And this Pittsburgh defense took over on these last 2 possessions.
Well, Tony Romo was trying to get the ball there to Jason Witten. Pretty interesting that 2 key moments in this game, the last 2 possessions, he's trying to get the ball to Witten. The one for the interception that gave Pittsburgh the go-ahead touchdown, and then on this one, Witten never is looking for the ball. And I'm not sure exactly why. He's well down the field and never expected the ball to come in his direction.
And that's really the more interesting point, is not only was Romo looking for Witten 2 key throws, but both times Witten and Romo weren't on the same page.
Yeah, and the two guys that throughout this season have always been on the same page.
Witten, the leading receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, as Gary Russell gets it. And Dallas will spend their second timeout. After that play, Tony Romo talking to his center, Andre Girard. And there was confusion prior to getting to the line before they had to take a timeout. And then it looked like on the 4th and 10 play after the timeout. A much better second half for Tony Romo, but not enough overall. Just a quarterback rating of 44.9. He really struggled in the first half, and Roethlisberger, there it is again. It's not beautiful, it's not pretty, but he and the Steelers are going to come away with another win.
Well, and Roethlisberger didn't have the interception, and when you get into a game against an opponent that's pretty evenly matched, that's what decides these games, are the turnovers, and Tony Romo had 3 of them.
And 5 Dallas turnovers on the day, and now the Cowboys use their last timeout. And technical directors Colby Bourgeois, and the audio mixer Fred Aldis. Associate directors are Greg Scopatoni, Jeremy Green. Editorial consultant in the booth is Steve Horn. Broadcast associates Rich Gross and Bentley Elliott. Studio show produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The highlights coordinator Janice Kazaza. Studio technical supervisor Jack Simmons. And now the clock will wind, the play clock more than the game clock, and that is it. Studio technical supervisor Jack Simmons, supervisor of remote field operations Jerry Steinberg, senior producer of Fox Sports Bill Brown, and the executive producers Red Gorn and David Hill. The Steelers with 5 takeaways in this game, and they outscored the Cowboys 17-0 in the last 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Cowboys had it going, had the makings of a big win, an upset road win here in Pittsburgh against the top defense in the NFL. But it's the top defense in the NFL that got the better of the Cowboys in the end. We'll come back and wrap up our day here in Pittsburgh after the break. Mike Tomlin and the Steelers celebrate their 10th win of the year.